Welcome to the Voiceover Gurus Podcast.
I'm Carrie Farris, and this is my VO journey.
Here. All set?
All right.
All right. Welcome back to the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. I'm Linda Bruno, doing a little bit of a different type of approach this time by speaking to actual students and folks working in the industry that maybe have only been in the industry for a year, 2 years. I want to hear about your voiceover journey. So with me today, the lovely Carrie Farris. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so blessed just to be talking to you.
Well, I appreciate you coming on because I think that anything we can share, of our personal experiences with others is always helpful.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe we'll give that other person a little, push of motivation so they know they're not alone in this world of doing VO. So first off, where are you located?
I'm in Austin, Texas.
Austin, Texas. Now, have you been there your whole life, or where are you from?
I was born and raised in Austin and went to school out of state, came back, got married, moved to Houston. Moved back to Austin because, it's the greatest place in the world.
Why do you think that?
It's beautiful and I don't like cold weather. Yeah, it's 106.
Austin in particular, though, right? Like you like Austin better than Houston?
Oh, yeah, that's why I came back. Houston's great for shopping and eating, but our lifestyle, we like to be outside. We like to fish and run and have fun. So, and all my family's here. So I had to get back.
You have a pretty big family too.
Mm-hmm.
You have, how many kids you have?
I have 5 kids. They're all from the same person. Not that that matters, but I get that question all the time.
Do you really?
Oh my gosh. And then the other question is, are they twins or triplets? I'm like, they're all separate births. Okay. Yeah.
Was that what you planned on having a lot of kids?
My husband wanted 3. He was good with 3. So we have 4. And then, whoops, it was meant to be 5.
So here's my first question for you. You have a lot going on in your life. Okay, let me backtrack. So when did you start and think, I think I want to do voiceovers like full time. I want this to be my thing?
It was a year and a half ago that I said I'm going to do it full time. But it was 2 years ago that it was dropped in my mind, in my life, my journey.
How did that happen? What was that for you?
Well, looking back, my first job out of college was at a radio station at 96.7. Do you remember KHFI FM?
I don't, but I believe you.
Well, I say that because you're a Texas girl. I'm from around here that you might know and in radio. But so I loved it. But then, when we started our family, there's no way I could have carved out time for that. Mm-hmm. And then you had to go to studios and travel. And so I really I hate to say, I just moved my life towards my kids. And during that time, I always had to have a job. Mm-hmm. So, I work out. I was an athlete. So I started working out, started doing meditations. People would say, can you video a workout or video, record your meditations? And so it kind of went from there.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, one after the other. And then I'd say, this equipment, this mic, let's test this out. And I noticed that I didn't think that, I have such a beautiful voice. I knew I had a quirky voice because we like to have fun and play around with our voices and, imitate different animations or characters. And so it's just fun and it gives me joy. And so it was just step by step. Then when I learned about VO and what it was and going into it, I wanted to learn everything about it. I wanted to learn the good and the bad and the hard. And the first thing I learned, you better love it because it's going to be hard. You've got to put in the work.
When did you start to realize that it was going to be so hard?
Well, before I got on one of the big play-to-place, websites, I did a lot of research, talked to people, looked at a lot of YouTube, other VOs, coaches, just tidbit, little bits that I could get. All of them said, You've got to, it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. You got to put in your auditions. You've got to set goals every day, weekly, monthly,
Mm-hmm.
and really, it's such a creative outlet, right brain, but you
Right.
also have to have the left brain with
Yes.
business, marketing, all this stuff. And when I first realized, oh boy, this is going to be a lot harder and longer than I thought, when I realized I don't know what my brand is,
Mm-hmm.
because at first I'm auditioning for everything that comes across my desk because
Sure.
I don't know what I'm going to get hired for.
Mm-hmm.
And then I threw myself out there, tried everything I could, and then realized I need a coach.
So
I
you
need
had not
a
had
coach.
any coaching at that point.
Just coaching that I was listening to podcasts, watching
Mhm.
on YouTube, but I hadn't hired a coach at that point and said, "You're my coach, let's meet." And
Because
that was
that's
my, go
once you
ahead.
make that commitment, it's like saying, okay, I'm really going to put, as opposed to like, I'm not saying you did this, but if we don't get, okay, we'll equate it to working out, and if you say, you know what, I think I want to drop 20 pounds and I want to gain, muscle, maybe hire a trainer. When you hire that trainer, it's like you're making that commitment that says, okay, I'm going to invest in my health in this situation. So
Mhm.
hiring a coach, and I'm not saying that because I'm a coach, but it's just true. It's like signaling, okay, I'm serious about this. This means something to me enough where I'm going to open my wallet and I'm going to do something about it.
Yeah. Like you got to get over imposter syndrome. Because once you invest in yourself that way and you put your energy and your money into that coach, it changes things. It changes things inside you too. Like,
Mhm.
I am going to do this. I'm worth doing this. I can do this.
So
It's just getting past the nose.
when did you experience the imposter syndrome? When did that happen for you? Or is it
Oh
still
gosh.
happening?
I think I'm I think I'm over that because once you get hired one time, you're thinking, I can do this. There's one person that's going to hire me.
That likes.
It may be 200 more auditions, but there's going to be another person, and just keep believing and keep going. And sometimes, I have bad days, I get down, but
Sure.
I think I go back and I listen to the auditions that I've gotten hired for or the jobs or whatever it is. And I say, those are the jobs that I've gotten. I'm going to get another job,
That's
but I
great.
got to keep going.
But it takes a bit to get to that.
Hmm.
It's like, how many auditions do you think you submitted before you booked a quality job that you thought, okay?
Well, what's funny is the second week that I was on one of those pay to plays, I had auditioned for an audiobook. I didn't get the job for 2 months later because it
Mm.
was when they contacted me. So that was exciting to look back and rare,
Mm-hmm.
probably doesn't happen all the time. But it took me months to, get a call back and get that job. And so I just realized, I've got to just work on my craft and keep figuring out where I fit in. Because you, as my coach, is a witness that my voice is different.
Yeah, you're very unique.
And so there's that, oh, I sound like everybody else, and I can tweak that and get better and play, in this league. But you have to be realistic with your voice. Like, can I compete in that arena?
Mm-hmm.
Or can I compete over here in this one that's just as great?
Right. So you're releasing certain, I guess, ideas,
Ideals,
yeah,
what
of
you
what you
think.
thought. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you set out initially into this career as to where you would fit.
I think so. Uh-huh.
I know
And
when I started, I had to find out what my sound was by the auditioning as well. Because I didn't know. I didn't know any of it. I just knew I love to do voiceover and I really like doing commercials or whatever. And then it was whatever I started booking started to give me that signal of, okay, this is a good lane for you. You fit with that. Your voice fits in that. And then that's, part of it too, is that trial and error and just sometimes just throwing it out there to see if you get any feedback. But it is tough. Pay to plays have a lot of people on there doing the exact same thing.
No, I know. Right. And it's
Yeah.
hard not to get it in your head. But one of the things that I love that you taught me was, let's go find a voice that sounds like you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go find that, see what they're doing, see their style, just listen to it, see if it, resonates with you. Not that I want to be her, I want to be me, but there's a secret sauce in there
Mm-hmm.
that she has. And what is it? And that has helped so much.
I mean, finding that person that you admire and maybe their path is fantastic, but never worry that you're copying them, because it's still you. You are
Right.
putting your performance on something. They may inspire you. Heck, we've all been
Yeah.
inspired by, some people that are going into animation are inspired by all the animated voice actors. And it's great. You get that inspiration. It gives you that push. And then sometimes if you can try to not model yourself, but I did it when I was younger too. I would watch TV and I would listen to a voice and go, oh, I want to sound like that. And so I would practice it and try to emulate that.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just gotta
Yeah.
the right wheel.
And then play, because that's what you're doing. You're playing. And doing this is giving me so much joy. I know it sounds kind of a little creepy, but I've told you, it's like I have sat in here and literally cried because I'm having so much fun. It's such a release. It gives me so much joy,
So how are you balancing everything? Because you have a big family life. Are you still working too? Are you still doing yoga? Are you still doing?
Well, I scaled that way down. I only teach a couple of classes a week just to keep myself out there and just do something a little different, but having, a big family is really hard. And that's the other thing. I've hired a business coach before, and that was very helpful. They have modules that help me learn about the business, about setting goals.
That's
And
great.
so I set these goals, and, if there's a day that I can't meet it, I give myself grace,
Mm-hmm.
So I have a schedule. Obviously during the school year, it's a lot easier,
Mm-hmm.
In the summer, I've found oh my gosh, how am I going to manage this? But I don't like set schedules like that, but I've really had to set a schedule
Mm-hmm.
and if I say I'm going to get 10 auditions a day because I don't have a job that I'm working on that day, or I'm not marketing or whatever, and I don't meet that 10, I just tell myself I got 8 in, I
Yeah.
did the best that I could. And I just did 8 more that got me closer to the next job.
That's a fantastic attitude.
Well, if I don't, you know what happens? We get that thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed from experience from my life, I capture that thought. And then that thought leads me to another negative thought, and another one, and another one. The next thing you know, I'm a ball of mess.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured out that I'm going to quit and everything else. And then when I snap out of it, I look back and think, look, I just wasted all of that time for what?
But it's difficult. Do you do anything in particular to change your mood, to get you motivated again?
Well, I know for my mental health, 100%, that I get up every morning and I do visualization.
Oh, good for you.
People would say I was religious. I wouldn't say I was religious. I'm spiritual. And so right when I wake up, right when I'm waking up, I just start visualizing my day and just releasing any negativity and just trying to set my mind for the day. And then I also know that I need to exercise.
Mm-hmm.
I have to. And we've talked about this a lot. People say, oh, where do you obsess? No, I need to do it for my inner self, my being, because if I can do that and get my day started, every time my day is better than if I start out dragging my knuckles. And sometimes I want to, and have to fight it.
Yes.
But what is it? The 5-second rule? Like when you're procrastinating.
I always think of the 5-second rule when food falls on the floor, if you can eat it or not.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember what's her name. She came out with a book and she's amazing. I don't remember her name, some self-motivator lady. And 5-second rule.
What's that?
You're sitting there. Say you just don't want to get up and do whatever you do. You just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
And just
I know it sounds silly.
Mm-hmm.
Because when she said it, I'm like, whatever, girl, you ain't gonna get my ass off the couch just by counting down. And she was like, just try it. Because then after a couple of times that you do take that action, right after you count down, you do it.
Why do you think that is, though? How does that work? Because I could see myself staying on the couch.
Yeah. Like talking to yourself at 1, going, I'll say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 again, and again, and again. It's like 3 hours later.
I'm genuinely curious. Like, so what do you think it does to your brain to do that?
Honestly, I think that it's like an accountability thing. That's why I listen to podcasts. That's why I created my own community. Because as much as I love sitting in here and doing the work by myself, I need VO community. I need people out there that I can run things across, bounce ideas. Did this ever happen to you? Oh my gosh. Sure. Well, where did I find that? Podcasts. While I'm working out, I'm also listening and learning. And that motivates me as other people, other VOs that have spoken my ear over and over and over again. You can do it. Keep at it. You're one of those people. I mean, you have to find those people, because if you're sitting in here by yourself and then you have that thought, then you keep going down the thought train.
Exactly.
You got to set yourself up to win.
So good. So well put as well.
Thank you.
Do you think that is the audiobook that you booked, you consider that your first job? Voiceover?
It was my first job.
So when you had that job, was that like your aha moment that I can do this?
Yes.
That was it.
Yes. When I got booked for that job and going through the process, because when something's new, you just don't know where you're going.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I hired a coach, and she was a technical coach, perfect for what I needed at the time. What are inflections? How to warm up? What is, how to write the notes on the paper, on your script?
Copy.
The tiny little things that most VOs are like, everybody knows that. I didn't even know that.
You'd be surprised. Some people don't. They jump in and they don't. And you need to know, that way you can be coached and understand what's happening. But that's good. You were learning the basics.
Well, one point that I want to make about that, and we've talked about it before, I've never mentioned the very first coach that I did hire, because she really wasn't a coach. I spent $800. I picked her because she was close in vicinity, and I was just starting out, and I thought, it'd be close, a hometown girl, a studio close. I'm not reaching out too far. There were supposed to be 6 sessions. She showed up for 3.
What?
And that is it. She canceled on me so many times. And then finally, I said, I'm just going to let her go.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. That's so unprofessional.
They are out there. They're out there more than you know. And they're just looking for a way to make money, because they're not making it in VO.
Did she have an actual studio, or what was her?
No, we met online, and it was on her apartment balcony. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So okay. So the 3 lessons that you did do, did you gain anything from her?
Maybe how to warm up. Like I said, the lady that I hired the second time that was my technical coach, she really went over that. well. If I would have stuck to the way that I felt after the first coach, I wouldn't have kept doing VO because it
Oh,
gave me a
man.
really, bad taste in my mouth about
Well,
that. Like, is this what this industry is? And it's not.
You
They're
did
just,
3 out of 6, so she basically owes you $400.
yeah, yeah,
That you're never going to see.
never.
But there's going to be, you try things and not everything's going to work out. But
That's
it's an
right.
investment in your career.
Yeah.
There are things
So
that.
learning lesson there. And so the next coach I got, I made sure that she was more of a technical coach, that she was a first time no one's ever done this before, because that's what I needed. But then I did my business coaching and I learned marketing and all this. Then when I'm ready and realizing that I need a coach for like a brand to really pull this out, like I said, I was doing listening to podcasts all the time. I found yours and I listened to your podcast for a year before I reached out and got a lesson because I wasn't going to do this again.
Yeah.
I'd gone through 3 demos, a couple of coaches, a business coach. I
didn't realize you've had 3
brand.
demos.
Oh, yeah. I would have to recall. We've talked about it. And you've listened to them too.
Well, I mean,
first one.
the one that you did before you came to us, that one I've heard, obviously.
Yeah.
But you had one.
Oh,
that's
heard
right.
Another one.
You did send me the other one, the one prior to that too. So you have an additional?
Yeah, I've sent them to you. It was a while back though. It didn't impress you, obviously.
Yeah, I thought, well, but these are the things we learn, and you're only going to learn by doing.
Exactly.
You have to take those. And how are you going to know that this coach who was advertising herself, locally to you was going to be a bust? You don't know.
I know.
I mean, these days now you can do more research, I guess. Were you not able to read review? Did people do reviews on this person or? Well,
when I looked her up, all her reviews were on her website. So all those reviews are going to be raving. I was naive. I was naive at the beginning and trusting and didn't research enough. But then I learned my lesson and I did.
Yeah.
And spent the money where it was going to serve me instead of not.
And no matter what, you've learned something from every experience, regardless, even if it has been something that you feel like maybe you got the shaft on a little bit. Still learn something.
Yeah. Because if you're in the communities, the Facebook communities or listening to podcasts, you will learn really quick that everyone has a story. Yep. And everyone has their own path. And that's what is exciting to me, is about supporting other VOs because their journey is never going to be yours and yours is never going to be theirs. And let's just all be friends and encourage each other. And for the most part, all the VOs that I've met have been that way.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I like about coaching the fact that I meet so many different people and I love to hear their past, what they were doing, just today, I have a new student that came in and he's listening to the podcast now. So I'll say hi. He was in the Navy and he was on submarines,
Oh, wow.
So hearing, it's like, whoa, that's completely, and he competes in strongman competitions, stuff that like I would never,
wow.
I know,
right.
I love it. I love hearing about other people's lives and their experiences and what they've done. Especially because a lot of people come some people come midlife because they think I want to try this as a new career and I want to get rid of the old. Totally cool. But I love that because, man, I see all the experiences and it's so different. I'm so used to voiceover for so long that I'm like, all right, we do this, we do that. But I like to hear, I'm fascinated by somebody else's story.
Isn't it? Yeah. And then, when they use their voice, they're speaking from their experience, right? And so since we all have different experiences, you could bring that script to a whole different level or a whole different way.
So true.
Like you always say, on that second take or third take, just do your thing or show what you've got, because it'll set you apart.
Sometimes too, I find that when it comes to auditioning, the first time I read through it is usually my best take. And I think it's
Really?
because I trust my instincts. And then I screw up when I start to do multiple takes beyond that. And then I go back and I go, well, that first take was really good. Now these later takes don't sound as good. And it's really about trusting and saying, you know what? I read through it. I got the feel for it. Let me just go.
Mm-hmm.
And don't think about it so much. And that's a really difficult thing to do. But
That takes a lot of practice.
Yeah.
To read that thing off the first time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But then it takes practice to have faith in yourself.
Yeah.
To say either I'm right for this or I'm not. And that's okay if I'm not.
Yes.
Most of the time I'm not going to be.
There's a point that I want to make that I thought about this earlier and even wrote it down just to help people out there, some green jeans like me, so business coach says 10 a day. I listen to other people, they're saying 10 a day, that's good. Then he comes back and says, it's really 30 a day. And you need to get putting out auditions.
Oh, okay.
30 auditions a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking to myself, 30? He says, yes, you got to get really good about turning it around and doing good. Sure. I tried that, Linda.
Yeah.
And I didn't it's because it's not just a numbers game, y'all. You got to sound good. And the only way you're going to get 30 auditions in a day and sound good is if you are that experienced.
Interesting.
I mean, 30 a day and for your voice to sound and bring it where you need to bring it.
I think
that's
10
talent.
a day is a lot. I feel
10 a day.
I think 10 a day is a lot.
Yeah.
I also think because there's so many other things you have to do for this business.
Yeah.
That, there's got to be time as well carved out for the marketing, for the billing, for the hopefully collecting money.
Yes.
But yeah, you're right. Because auditioning too, you're hopefully putting your heart and soul into every single one. That can be very consuming and can be very consuming on you.
Yeah.
Because it's a little mini performance.
Right.
Every time you put one out.
And then sometimes they say, well, it just depends on how old the VO video that I was watching, but there are some that are saying in 2023, today, slate every audition. I do not slate one audition. And then I've had people say, you have to have that 1 second. No, half a second. No, this. So everyone has an idea of what they have an opinion, right? Yes. And you are going to form your own by what your own experience is.
Exactly. Yeah, you couldn't have said it better. It's true. The whole slating thing, I don't think there's a hard and fast rule on it. I think it varies, as well as do you give more than one take? I don't think there's a hard and fast rule on that either. I think if you do have something in you that you think you could contribute a different style of read that may still fit into the parameters of what they asked for, then by all means, submit it with the original read. But otherwise, to me, once you have found what you think works and is going to work for this, sometimes you just got to go with that confidence and do it. As far as the slating goes, I mean, I usually follow the directions of but you don't slate on pay to plays. They know who you are, right?
Well, all right. So there's Gravy for the Brain, which I am a member of. I've took a lot of their courses, all of them actually. And they will tell you, you have to slate every time. If I got on and you auditioned for me and you didn't slate, I'd throw it out. But I have never experienced that anywhere through all the pay to plays separate, getting things separately. So
I mean, the years that I was on the pay to plays, I never slated. Because I just figured my name is attached to the audition.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Why? But I don't know, unless something has changed in regards to that.
Oh, yeah. Now I'm just saying, I think that's what I believed at the beginning. And I don't believe that to be true anymore. You shouldn't slate unless it says slate your auditions.
Please slate.
Yeah. And then the 2 takes. So I've heard this, so I'm just saying it. It seems obvious. Okay. This seems obvious, but I'm just saying because I've heard it. Is if you do 2 takes, make the second take different.
Yes.
Don't give them the same exact take that they just heard because it's not going to make them like you anymore. It's probably going to be like, well, they have no range.
Right. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you don't have something different in you, then there are times when I will look at an audition and go, I don't see what else I could do with this other than what I just delivered. Then I don't do a second take and I take my chances.
I did that yesterday and I thought those same things. I thought, well, I could do a second take, but it's going to sound, and I could change the inflection, but then it's going to change everything about it. And it's really not long enough. So I did that too.
I'm looking back on some of the bigger jobs that I've booked. I don't think I submitted 2 takes.
Really?
Yeah. It's like you get picked because you're fitting in their mind what they feel is going to work. They're not, same as like I've mentioned this before on the podcast that I book a lot of jobs from my demo. Yeah. So there's no multiple takes of their script. It's them hearing something and saying, this is what we want for our project. I don't know, like, again, there's so many experiences, so many things that people, I guess, whatever works for you, whatever success you found, obviously it's good because if you're making money and you're making a living at it, then can't argue any of that,
Yeah. But if you're just starting out and you're questioning this, keep going, find a community that's going to support you and stay positive and laugh. Because laughing is just the joy of life. It's part of what we do, and it releases all those chemicals in your body that makes you happy.
Yeah. I will say for new folks too that join some of these voiceover communities, you may have heard this, but if not, I'm repeating it. Once you join these communities, if you have a question, try to search the community to make sure it has not already been answered. Because sometimes, yes, people will say, can you please do some research? Because we've already talked about this 50 times, so, and that's an easy thing to do. You can search, if you
just go into that group and you just search, word search, right? That's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Because sometimes people will just, these random, should I get a coach? Things that, and then you can look up and find out what people have already discussed about it and get the opinions there.
Well, I want to make sure that people know that if I can do this, anybody can do this. So now
why do you say that though?
Well, I had surgery on my larynx. I had nodules on my larynx. I couldn't talk. I couldn't read books to my kids. Like, it was a nightmare because I taught for so long and trained people for so long. And there was, a point where I was assistant manager at Lifetime Fitness, and I was covering classes, teaching like 9 classes a day. And I'm not doing the things. I'm just coaching, knowing nothing about warm up, cool down, voice care. Those things are real. What you eat, what affects my voice, coffee, dairy, when I'm smoother, when I'm raspier, when I'm lower, when my voice is higher. Like, I know that I can do those amazing, really low spots in the morning, like the cancer care spots, the luxury spots. In the afternoon, I can do the 18 to 30-year-old, drinking some Celsius, girl, whatever.
So do you think that all of that overuse of your voice, that's what caused the nodules?
Oh, absolutely. And so I had to have surgery. And I couldn't talk.
How long ago was that?
Maybe 10 years ago or so.
So
maybe
then
longer than that.
For you to recover where you were like, okay, I want to try to pursue VO.
So then I just, I didn't learn about voice care until I got into this and started realizing about my care, my voice care. And so
how important it is.
I wouldn't be able to talk right now. Like, it's awesome. This is a miracle in my eyes. I get to do this. and use my voice. And my heart is to encourage and help people. And if I don't have a voice, I can't do that. So fighting through those obstacles and then finding jobs has just been so wonderful. If you have a beautiful voice, you're already there.
Confidence-wise, yes.
Yes, confidence-wise.
If you can't perform, it doesn't matter how good your voice is.
Mm-hmm.
You got to put the other elements in place, which you have, because you've worked hard at it.
And then I go, if I didn't have this weird voice, I wouldn't be able to do I do some of the most off-the-wall jobs.
That's awesome.
And I think that's cool,
Totally.
to play, a 23-year-old that is ethnic and that can reach other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's a blessing.
I feel that your uniqueness is your ultimate gift, but everyone is unique in some way. You just have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And also,
maybe you can do accents,
You never know. But even if your voice is so unique that you're worried and you're like, oh my God, I don't sound like the typical whatever. No, that doesn't, don't view it like that. View it like this could potentially set me apart from others.
Yeah, look at Jennifer Tilly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at that voice and where it's, took her as well. Meg Tilly, both of them.
Yeah. You embrace it.
You do.
Well, you have been a very inspirational story, life
that
you've lived as well. I hope that everybody gains something from it, because if it's not that if you can do it, anyone can do it. It's you have put in the work. You have put in the mental work of what it takes to get through the obstacles. And your day to day, you're a very busy person, and you can't just sit there and focus on VO 24/7. But you still manage to balance your life, which so many people have to do, especially if they're still holding a regular job.
Right.
You find those pockets of space. Or if you're recording and maybe you live in an area that's not so quiet, sometimes you have to plan around that too.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
getting, and I was emailing a client last night at 10:30 at night. And that's another, I find a benefit to it because I can work it in my schedule, getting the errands. But I tell myself I am a full-time VO. This is my full-time job. I make sure I get in minimum 40 hours a week.
Good for you.
Keep at it every day.
I love that. And I love the fact that you set those goals. I think that business coach got you on the right track.
Well, thanks. I did get something made for you.
What?
Before we signed off, and I wanted to send it to you, but it wasn't going to get there in time because I had to get it monogrammed, and it cost me a whole lot of money. But I always tell you that you are my guru, right? And you see,
oh my God, I love it. I love it.
Full effect. So I always tell Linda, she's my guru. Linda Bruno Guru. So I got the Linda Bruno Guru front center right here.
So what do you do? You got to describe the hat for people that are not seeing this on the YouTube channel.
Okay. So, it's a guru hat, kind of like a Sikh in a way. It's gold. It's got big purple feathers on the front, some beads that are kind of falling down in front of my forehead. Genie in a bottle.
I was going to say, we don't look like a genie. I love it.
Yeah, but this is your special hat. So for real, I need to get your address.
Yes.
Because I'm going to send you not just this, but just.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
Yeah.
I love it.
I can't wait to see this on you. I mean it. I'm sending it.
You wear it during every podcast and every workout.
You do. You do.
Well, thank you, Carrie.
Linda doesn't want me to tell you this because this is the kind of girl she is, but she is the best coach that I have run across. Quality, personality, she nailed my brand. And if I could just thank you on the top of the mountaintops to everyone,
thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're solid gold, girl.
I appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Everything. I was just playing some of the elements of your demo for Alyssa, the other coach. And
Oh, yeah.
I was like, the Portia one is fantastic. And the way Dave produced it's fantastic. And she's like, oh, it's so good. So I'm very proud of the stuff that I've also produced for you too.
When I look at my website now, when I hear my demos, I am proud.
I'm glad.
And you want to be proud because when you look at your website and your brand and who you are and nailed your demo, that is the biggest motivator. And I think that people need to focus on that, getting that right.
Which also brings up one final point, that if you are getting a demo done and you're not happy with it, you have to speak up. You know, you have to, you're paying for your demo to be done. Try not to feel intimidation and just say something and say, I'm uncomfortable with this, that, or the other, because you are paying for something. Just don't take it and leave and then be unhappy. And like you're saying, not be proud of it on your website. And then maybe it'll hold you back from sending it out, things like that.
Exactly.
But Carrie Farris, your website just carriefarris.com?
Yes, it is.
Carrie Farris, FARRIS.com. Check out her website. You're going to hear her fabulous demos. And I'm so happy for you that you're starting to get some really cool jobs too.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I'm excited. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today. This has been so fun.
That wraps up another episode of the Voiceover Gurus podcast. And we will see you again very, very soon. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Nice.
Thanks for listening to the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry. Learn more about us and get coaching at voiceover.guru. Thanks for listening to the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry. Learn more about us and get coaching at voiceover.guru.